Welcome to the 5-Year You podcast, a show dedicated to helping you become the best version of yourself one day at a time. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Kat, and we promise to keep it raw, real, and relatable.
Are you ready to grow?
High five, tribe. Rejection hurts, not because it means there's something wrong with you, but because your brain interprets it as a threat of belonging. This episode is called How Not to Take Rejection Personally, and I think it's really going to help you. How are you doing today, Kat?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I know we're recording this on a Saturday. It's I always like recording. It always makes me smile a little bit bigger every day. So even
It's
a
nice.
topic like this, yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. Nice to talk to you. Nice to help people with things that we all deal with.
Yeah, exactly. So I know you've never personally been rejected, so you got no relation to this, and neither do I. I mean, rejection. What is that, right? We had to Google actually what that word meant.
Stop it.
In all fairness, everybody goes through rejection, and it stings. It doesn't just sting; it makes you question everything about yourself when it happens. So when it happens, Kat, what's your first steps, your first positive steps? I think we all have the same negative steps of like just catastrophizing everything and berating ourselves. But
Well,
what is it?
we always say it's a good idea to feel your feelings. So maybe not catastrophize the situation, but it's totally normal to feel disappointed or upset if you get rejected from something, whether you ask someone out on a date, whether you didn't make the high school play, whether you got overlooked for a promotion and someone else did. It hurts. And it's okay to acknowledge that within yourself. The key is not to dwell there.
Yeah, I think that's a really important thing these are normal feelings. Taking it personally doesn't make you insecure or a bad person or anything else. It just means you're human and we're hardwired to want to fit in. So when you're rejected, that sense of self kind of takes a shot. And depending on how good your sense of self is before that moment or how good or bad your day is, it can really hurt or it can bounce off you and feel like nothing. Often it really does hurt.
It's one of the most interesting things we talk about how we have really not evolved that much as human beings. Our world, our technology, our industry has adapted far faster than us as human beings. And because of that, when different things happen, our body reacts as though we are still tribal people, right?
Yeah, it really does. It's, suddenly that sense of belonging has been threatened and we have a rightful panic in that moment of feeling like, wow, I'm not part of this group or the tribe is really the mindset. And when that happens, it can set off a lot of alarms in your brain. And it can also make you feel like there is something functionally wrong with you, which is not the case. I can guarantee you that. But that story built around it is very, very strong, especially if you've gone through a lot of rejection. I'm just going to throw this in. In your normal life, you are told, the average person is told no by the time they reach 18. They have been told no 144,000 times. And that's if you're in a normal household. If you're in a bad household or a negative household, God knows what that number might be. So we're being rejected on micro levels all the time. But today we're more talking about those like human interaction rejections of maybe not fitting in a way or not. But just know that like rejection it really is part of life. And we've been told no a lot over the years.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's so interesting. And I wish I would have known about this as a younger person, as someone in junior high or high school, that, this is a part of it. And now between us, we have 4 lovely kids, and it hurts us when they don't make the team they want to make or the show they want to make. And what we always tell them, and what I think is comforting perhaps for our listeners to hear, is that rejection is protection. I'll give you an example without trying to not give too many details. But one of the kids was going to a new school this year and tried out for jazz band. And we did a ton of extra lessons for this kid throughout the summer, worked really hard, and then ended up not making it. And they were bummed and things like that. Well, it's a new school, right? Now that they've been in this new school a few months, the other day, they told me, like, I'm really glad I didn't make jazz band. That teacher makes a lot of kids cry, gives out like a lot of detentions. I can't imagine having to have so many hours. It's actually making them not want to play music at all. It's kind of been a negative experience. And I'm like, huh, it's so interesting. And it was a great example. It was like, you see, at the time, you're upset. And now it's like rejection's protection. You didn't need that additional stress in your life or whatever. But it's okay to grieve and to feel disappointed. You did your best. You did all the extra practices. Wasn't meant to be. But so often we don't find out what we were protected from until far after the fact.
I agree. And that's an amazing story about it and how just what a great reframe that is, right? To actually be able to say it, but then to have the experience where the child's able to recognize that afterwards. And I think that kind of speaks to rejection as a whole. Like rejection just feels so personal. The psychology behind that is actually kind of interesting. I find all psychology interesting, but this is really, really cool. Your brain lights up in the same region as physical pain when you get rejected. So it literally hurts. It's like your brain is interpreting this as pain. And along with that pain, you're also having that sense of belonging threatened, which means, we talk, as we mentioned, like it threatens your survival. It triggers a fear of being left alone. And the next part of the psychology, and I never really thought about this until we started talking about it, is that you're not just losing an opportunity, you're losing the story you have been telling yourselves around this situation. So in the case of jazz band, the story is I'm a great piano player. I have been putting all this effort in and all these things. And then the rejection happens and the narrative can very easily become, while it's completely inaccurate, I'm not good at this. I'm a terrible piano player. Nobody thinks I can play the piano well. I'm awful. So you're not just losing the story and the sense of belonging, but then you can easily replace it with something far worse than was ever intended.
Yeah, exactly. It's so hard to train your mind to recognize that the no's mean nothing about you. A no for you, sometimes it can help if people that have more of an altruistic personality, is maybe a yes for someone else that's a better fit. And sometimes each no gets you closer to the yes that is meant for you. I think about that, with young men asking girls out on dates and things like that, trying to find their person. It's like, yeah, it stings to get rejected. That hurts. It hurts. It hurts us to see, kids go through breakups and things like that. But every no is just one step closer to, you know, a good partner for you, a better partner for you, a better friend for you, a better college for you. That comes up a lot. Kids have it in their mind that there's this dream school and maybe they get rejected from it and it kills their sense of like everything they thought of, the stories they told themselves about going to this school and, oh, I'm going to wear, all these school gear and I'm going to go to all the football games and it's going to be so much fun. I'm going to make all these memories. And suddenly the rejection erases all of those future thoughts about how it was going to be. And so it's not only like a death of the sense of self, but a death of a future self that you imagined.
Yeah, that story, that narrative that you've crafted around this potential experience is gone. So I think that's the real big reframe is that rejection hurts most when it collides with an identity.
Mm.
If somebody was to come to you and say, you're not allowed to come to my party, you're a big blue hairy monster, you're going to go, no, that doesn't make sense, but whatever. I really don't want to go if you're that crazy. But if somebody just says you're not invited to my party and leaves it open, you're going to be telling yourself a whole bunch of different things. And so that collision with your identity is really what's causing a lot of the pain through all of this. It's not the event. It's always the narrative you tell yourself. And I think that's an important thing to remember.
Yeah, I mean, I'll share something that happened recently to me, and I've had a lot of practice with rejection. It took me 4 years to get a book deal. I mean, rejection and I are old friends. So I have been living in my building for over a year now, and I've been like nice and like said hello to the neighbors and things like that. But I really have not made very close connections or new friendships. Andrew and I have a friend or two that already lived in the area that I connected with. But as far as making new friends, it just hasn't really happened. And so recently, one of my neighbors invited me to a sporting event, had an extra ticket, and I felt so honored. I was like, "Ugh," like she had this extra ticket and she thought of me, and we've just been friendly. And I'm like, well, you see, like it worked out. I've been nice to these people and I've left them a holiday card and given them my phone numbers and been a good neighbor. And it took a whole year, but yay, like someone finally thought of me for something. And then, like, the day before the event, I got a text that said, "Sorry, I gave the tickets away. We'll have to do something else another time." And I'm so used to rejection that I was kind of like, makes sense, but it wasn't like the best view of myself. I'm like, because then you tell yourself, like, well, clearly I was more excited than she was. Clearly, I'm somebody that's forgettable, like not someone that maybe people don't worry about hurting their feelings or isn't worth taking to a game, or maybe I looked weird the other day and she didn't want to take me out in public. I mean, you tell yourself all of these different things. So even somebody like me that's had a ton of practice with rejection, ton of, 17 years of therapy and the host of a personal development podcast, these things never go away. It's always the instant reaction of, "Oh, I'm an unworthy human being," that comes up, but it's really what we tell ourselves next that matters.
That's right. And some other, I mean, like, I'm just going to be honest, and you know this because I've told you this when it happened. That is a really terrible thing to do, is to invite somebody and then to uninvite them or to give the tickets away or whatever, because the message that I would take from that, and we know rejection's protection, and who knows what this person might have been like at the event or whatever else. I believe it was in your best interest.
Yeah.
But the messaging behind that is saying, like, it's unimportant. Like, this event that I invited you to is unimportant to me now. And that is a terrible messaging, but it's the story you tell yourself after that. So when these events happen, some of the most common things you're going to hear are exactly what Catherine was just saying. And like, I'm not good enough. I'm unlovable. I always get passed over. I knew this was going to happen. This always happens to me. All of this is really terrible energy around yourself, but it's also a lie, I think, is the biggest thing. Is you know, you need to start taking, when rejection happens, you explore the concept of meaning making, which is, instead of going to your default network of this always happens, or I'm this, or I'm that, you view it as an event. Rejection is just an event in your life. It's not your life's narrative. And the story you attach to it is going to determine the amount of pain you experience with it. So, Catherine, you've also mentioned on previous podcasts that, you love canceled plans, and you could have very
I know.
easily taken this as
I
thank
know.
goodness you canceled. I did not want to go. And that is, a very, very different reaction to the same situation. It was all about the story you told, which is
Yep.
okay.
Yes.
But yeah,
I thought that was interesting too, because part of the reason that I struggle to make new friends as an adult is that I am very introverted. I can easily have conversations with people and things like that, but my preference is to be a homebody, is to stay cozy at home. That is just my personality, what my body likes to do. And but I think that even people who are introverted, we do still like to be invited and included. And I know that it's healthy for me to have friends. And I have a lovely group of women who are my friends, but they live all over the country, right? And so it would have been nice to have a neighbor to be a buddy from time to time. And it seemed meant to be, because with our schedule, having a long distance relationship, in 2 different countries with 4 kids between us, it was a downright miracle that I was even available on the day that she asked. And I was just like, "Wow, like, thanks, universe. This is so cool. Like, am I a sporty spice? No. Is this normally something I would buy myself tickets to? Nope, hard pass on that." But I was willing to go to put effort into starting a new friendship, but it was not meant to be. So I'm sure energetically, I just kept telling how much I loved canceled plans. And it was like, oh, you love cancel. Well, here you go. So, but now I can look back at it and say, probably wasn't meant to be. Could have been a bad situation, could have been a busy stadium. Perhaps this person liked to drink alcohol. Andrew and I don't drink alcohol. And so maybe it would have been just like not a good fit for me. So it's okay. I feel better about it now, but in the moment it felt pretty bad.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and it does because there's stories around it. So, what rejection actually means, I think having some powerful reframes is really key because this is not something that we get over lightly. You can move through it quicker, though. So, some reframes can be like rejection often reflects the fit, timing, or perspective. It doesn't reflect your value. So, sometimes, if I'm going to use a sports metaphor here, or analogy, I can't tell the difference between the two of those words. And I think that in hockey, you have two goalies. So if you're a goalie and your buddies already have two goalies, you're not going to get invited. You are not the right fit in that moment.
That is a good analogy.
Wow. Got it in just before the end of the year, folks. You heard it from her. Timing and perspective are also things, like it just might not be the right time for you to go do this thing with that person. And our perspective, like there's just a lot to those things. And a really powerful reframe is that you're being filtered, not judged. And I think most of us feel judged when this happens. I didn't get invited because whatever terrible thing my brain can come up with in this moment. And the reality is like you're just being filtered out. Maybe there wasn't enough seats in the car. Maybe they didn't think of you. Maybe they, there's something that you weren't meant to experience that day. And the last one is that and we mentioned this already, but rejection is protection. It is protecting you from something, and you might not ever know what that is. That's the hard one, right? It's very easy when you say like, I was supposed to go to this event, and they, I got uninvited, but it got canceled or rained out, and I'm glad I didn't go. That's an easy one. It's the rejection that happens without any reasoning attached to it and going like, well, how is this protecting me? You might not know, but that's also a great experience you have to create a new narrative around it. And that can be, I hate sporting events, or I really didn't want to sit in a room full of drunken people tonight, so this works out. You get to choose.
Yeah, we don't always get the benefit of finding out, why we were protected from something, but every now and then life will throw you a bone and you're like, oh, I really dodged a bullet with that one.
Yeah.
And it's a very satisfying feeling. But the key thing and what takes a lot of work and what takes a lot of work in therapy or thoughtfulness and mindfulness on your part is that not everybody is going to choose you as a friend, as a partner, as a romantic, someone to have a romantic relationship, as someone to have a romantic relationship with. But that doesn't mean you are unchoosable. That doesn't mean you're unlovable. That doesn't mean that you are not worthy of love and friendship and happiness. You are worthy of all of those things. And somebody's decision, whether or not to include you or ask you out or continue on in a relationship with you, does not mean anything about you. It means everything about their choices. And it's up to you to decide to think, oh, what's wrong with me? Or you can say, their loss.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty good catch. Their loss. I'm
Yes,
a
you
pretty
are.
good friend. Oh, thanks. I wasn't even.
I don't know if you're fishing there or not, but you
No,
are.
I wasn't.
Yeah, being rejected doesn't mean you were evaluated correctly. I think that's another big takeaway is just they're wrong. They can be wrong. And the more you take that attitude, the better your self-esteem is going to be and the more protected you'll feel. All right. So let's get to the meat of this because this is the most important part. It's how to process rejection without internalizing it. So step one, and this is the hardest one for me, is to feel it. Don't bypass it. Just let the disappointment exist without judgment. Sit with it and go, I'm disappointed right now. And that sucks. And then you pause a little longer and just like, it's going to say, like, a feeling only lasts 90 seconds if you don't resist it. And that's pretty amazing once you realize that. The next thing is to separate fact from interpretation. So ask yourself what actually happened, and then ask yourself, what am I assuming it means? And those two things are usually directly opposite of each other. Being rejected is not necessarily correlating to the story you are telling yourself. And that's been kind of the basis of this whole episode. Next, and I love this, is to externalize the rejection. Write it down as a third-party event, not a personal verdict. Write it down as if it was your kid that this was happening to. Write it down so you're not putting all your personal baggage into this situation. Fourth, you want to return to self-trust. Remind yourself of all the moments you have been chosen. Remind yourself of all the times you've been valued and that the times you've been aligned with other people, and understand that this is not one of those moments. And then last, and I love this the most, keep your identity bigger than one outcome. You are not your last no. I'm going to say that again. You are not your last no.
And I would say I love that so much. And as a reminder, because this is another really important thing about this episode, rejection is protection. You might not get to know why, but the universe, God, whatever you believe in, always has your best interests at heart. And you are not going to be passed over for opportunities that are meant for you. There is a purpose behind everything. And if something happens, if you don't get what you were hoping for, there is something better along the way. And the more you believe it, the more likely it is to come a little bit faster.
Ooh, I love that. So another way of doing this is to just reframe the rejection as information. It can show you where alignment is missing. Maybe it's with the group of friends, maybe it's with your classmates, workers, whatever the situation is, family. Allow it as information to serve as what you actually want. Catherine, if I was to ask you wholeheartedly, did you want to go? Was that event a hell yes for you?
No.
Okay. So did you really want to go at the end of it all?
No, I wanted to get to know my neighbor better, but I would have been much happier taking a walk to one of the many restaurants we can walk to and just chatting and having a very defined beginning and the end to a meal versus a several hour long game in the city with Chicago traffic, etc. It wasn't my preference, but you're right.
Well, there you go. Rejection also, it strengthens your resilience and discernment. And I think that's a really important thing because I think we all want to be invited to the party, but as introverts and extroverts, probably only 50% of us actually want to go to the party. So the key thing here is, and it's a general reminder that every meaningful life includes rejection. The difference is how long we let it define us. So the length of time you let that rejection hurt you is going to directly impact the length of happiness in your life. So just kind of sit with that. And
I
again, you
love
don't
it.
need everybody to choose you. Thank you. You don't need everybody to choose you. You just need the right people to choose you.
I
And they
love
always do.
that. They do.
Thank
All right. I feel like that's a very strong place to end. I hope this was helpful for you. At the end of every episode, we do something called glimmers. It is anything that's like sparkly and happy, just things going on in our life, stuff we're happy about. We like to end on a high note with some gratitude. So, Andrew, what is your glimmer today?
Honestly, my glimmer right now is that it's Saturday as we're recording this. I'm enjoying like getting to do the recording. It's the holiday season as we record this. So I've just been kind of enjoying the quiet time before all the stuff. I'm coming to see you in 2 days. So there's lots to get done, and just having a little bit of quiet time has been really good. So my glimmer is just enjoying the calm before, the holiday storm, as it were. How about you, Catherine? What's your glimmer?
I've just been so happy today. I have had this whole day to myself and it has been glorious. Didn't have to bring any kids to sports, anything like that. Like I have had my headphones on and I've just been doing laundry and cleaning up, but I had a really busy work week this week and it's just been I feel like I'm putting my life back together today and it's felt really good.
I love that. I love that. So we're both enjoying like the quiet calm right now, which is very nice. Well, listeners, thank you very much for listening. We love you very much and we can't wait to see you next time. Take care.
Hey guys, quick disclaimer. We're podcasters on the internet. If you need to seek professional help, please go see your healthcare professional.